What's up, everybody in the works, and we're playing some more Medal of Honor Warfighter today, and we're taking a look at the Demolition class, the Demo Man, you know, the Kaboom class from Team Fortress 2. No, it's completely different. He's not a drunk Englishman running around with a whiskey bottle trying to bash you. Rather, he is the tank class of Medal of Honor Warfighter. If you see there in the bottom right above my ammo count, I have a little shield with 61. That is how much buffer I have between my shield and my health. So when that goes to 0, I will not be able to use my ballistic armor again, which is the special ability of this particular class. But one of the things I do enjoy about this particular build is the C4, because you guys know I love C4 in Battlefield 3. I love it in any game that has C4. You'll see me using it, be it Call of Duty, be it Battlefield 3, be it Medal of Honor. C4 is a lot of fun. And I've been getting a lot of kills with it lately, and in this particular game, you'll see me get a handful of C4 kills throughout. But the Demo Man class is interesting. You know, I look at it and I'm like, okay, what is this particular build supposed to be geared towards? And when I first sat down to do this video, I wanted to talk about the score chain rewards it gets, because the score chain rewards they get are kind of underpowered. What is it? The M32 launcher, which is essentially a striker with explosive grenades in it that shoots it at your opponents, and they explode, and they're really weak. And in fact, I think if you compare them to the frag rounds, they leave a lot to be desired, because you only get 6 of them, and sometimes it'll take 2 or 3 to actually take someone down if it explodes like behind them or at their feet. And that's kind of frustrating to me, because I feel like being your first score chain reward and it's supposed to be offensive, I feel like it should be a little bit more powerful. Then the second thing you can unlock on the offensive side of things is the small rocket, which isn't really good at all. It's really kind of frustrating to use, because if you compare it to the frag round, or the frag grenades that is, it's really difficult to kill someone with it. And I don't understand that. You would think a small rocket would kill somebody when it explodes behind them, but nope, they will usually live. In my experiments, I've seen people with 1% to 10% health with a small rocket exploding at their feet. So essentially, if you want to kill that person, you have to direct impact them. So it's kind of frustrating to me. And I was like, man, this really sucks, because these offensive kill streaks aren't very good. And then I sat down and thought about it. I was like, you know, Jake, maybe they're not for infantry. Maybe they're for, you know, the little robot drones that go around. Maybe they're for Black Hawk helicopters. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because if there's one thing this beta isn't doing a very good job of, it's portraying how the game is going to play out in the actual core game. Because if you think about it, it's not going to be on just this stadium map. There's going to be all sorts of other big maps. And I think the beta is painting the wrong picture. I think that the beta is making this seem like it's going to be all these close quarters affairs, and the sniper is going to be underpowered, the Demo Man class is going to be underpowered. But if you think about it, there's going to be combat missions, which are similar to the rush game mode in Battlefield 3, if you're familiar with Battlefield 3. And combat mission was my favorite game mode from Medal of Honor 2010, and it did have tanks in it. So I'm not sure if it's going to have tanks in the Warfighter version of it. I haven't seen anything about that. But even so, if it's more long lines of sight, if it's more based on holding positions and stuff like that, I can see the Demo Man class actually being advantageous, especially to take out Black Hawk helicopters. Excuse me, I'm stumbling on my words there. Black Hawk helicopters that kind of, you know, pin up above the objective, that make it really difficult to hold something when there's thousands of people just kind of gliding down from the ropes into your objective. So I can see the Demo Man class being very, very useful in that scenario. So I really kind of backpedaled on my initial thoughts that, hey, maybe this class isn't good, maybe these score chains are underpowered, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to trust Danger Close. I'm going to assume that this will have more use in the other game modes. It'll have more use in other game types, maps, stuff like that. I just think in this particular map, the M32 launcher and the small rocket don't really have a whole lot of use. They actually seem to be more of a deterrence than anything. I feel like a lot of the times when I get out my my launcher, I feel like I could have killed him easily with bullets, and I end up dying because it takes 2 or 3 of these stupid grenades to kill the person. So that is one of the more frustrating aspects of this particular build. But I think people are getting the wrong idea about Medal of Honor. I think they're looking at what we've been given as a beta, and they're getting sour on the game. They're like, okay, this game's horrible, you know, it's all close quarters. And I think they're making the same mistake that Battlefield 3 made with their beta. I think that if they would have put a different map in for console other than Metro, because we all know that PC eventually did end up getting Caspian Border. I think people would have been more happy with the game. I think they would have experienced it how it was supposed to be felt, because these aren't betas. Don't act like they're betas. We all know that they're just glorified demos to get hype for the game going. They did the same thing with Medal of Honor 2010. They did the same thing with Battlefield 3. And a lot of people criticize DICE for trying to cater to the Call of Duty crowd with a close quarters map, which is what Metro was. And you know, I can see that, and I see why a lot of people got mad at the game. I mean, a lot of people canceled their Battlefield 3 pre-orders, and Medal of Honor is going the same route. Even in my comments of my videos, a lot of people are saying, I'm not buying this game now. I canceled my pre-order after seeing all this footage. And Jive Turkey 23, that name sounds familiar. In fact, he is a YouTuber. That's kind of strange. I didn't even notice that when I watched this the first time, but there you go. You learned something new. What was I on? What path was I going with this commentary? Oh, yeah. And I think that, you know, people are going to look at this beta and they're going to be like, oh man, this game's horrible, I don't want to play it now. And I think that's a shame, because I really do think this game will end up being a lot better. Considering I played this game in the alpha on the PC, it felt so much different. I look at this now and I'm like, what? This is not the same game I played in the alpha. It feels so much different because this map is so cluttered. This map feels so different, and I wasn't a huge fan of this particular map. And I think that once we experience other game types, once we experience a couple of the newer maps, I think we will enjoy it a lot more. I think we'll really get the feel of how this game is really supposed to feel. Because let's face it, I think a lot of gamers are very emotion driven. You notice that in the gaming community, if you experience like one negative aspect of a game, often you will sour on it quite quickly. And it's kind of a shame, because I think a lot of the people who may have canceled their Battlefield 3 pre-orders might regret it, because they ended up getting the game eventually. And they really did miss the excitement of playing a brand new game, because that's one of the things I love most about gaming is, you know, on release date, being one of those guys to first experience a game. And betas are awesome, don't get me wrong. If you think that I'm like against betas, no, that's not what I'm trying to go with here. I think more of along the lines of these betas that aren't really betas. They're more demos that disguise the game, that try to cater to one game type, try to cater to one type of player. And I think it really kills the experience for a lot of us. I think it really just kind of paints the wrong picture of what we should really expect out of a game like Medal of Honor Warfighter. Now watch this right here. This is what I'm talking about. That explodes at his feet twice, and he's still at 1% health. So that's why I got kind of frustrated with these particular score chain rewards. Often I find myself where I would just rather shoot him with bullets, because I know that the grenade launcher thing isn't going to kill him. Now let me know in the comments what you guys think. You have to remove the desire as a gamer to want to play the game, though, from the equation, because in that scenario you're always going to want a beta. You're always going to want to feel the game, test it out. And my controller ran out of batteries right there. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that betas can actually be a bad thing for a game's momentum? Because I think in the instance of this and Battlefield 3, I think the people really got the wrong idea of what the game was truly going to be. But we ended up winning this game. Pretty good game, even though it was a marathon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Peace.